deep in the swamps of Central Florida.
We have a couple thousand alligators, a couple hundred crocodiles.
Lurks one strange inheritance.
My idea all along was that I could build something that I could pass down to my family.
That was always in the back of your mind.
Always in the back of my mind.
Can we name this one Jamie?
Absolutely.
But passing down an enterprise like this can be treacherous.
Upon my father's passing, we might have to hit the road.
It might be sold out from underneath us.
It's risky business in more ways than one.
What happened to your finger?
Crocodile bit it off.
I'm Jamie Colby, and today I am off the beaten path. I mean, way off the path in the swampy lowlands of South Central Florida. These dense marshes once harbored Seminole Indians and runaway slaves, and more recently, alligator poachers. Now they're home to an old-time Florida family and a very strange inheritance. Patty?
Well, hi there.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
Nice to meet you.
But what's a nice girl like you doing in the middle of nowhere in Central Florida?
How do you know I'm a nice girl? Oh, I shouldn't say that. I'm Patty Register, and my mom, Marietta, passed away in 1996. She left me an inheritance with a lot of bite and with a lot of hoops to jump through.
Yes, Patty inherited alligators from her mother. But if only it were that simple. It rarely is with family businesses. And Gatorama, the kind of old-fashioned roadside attraction you might have run across in Florida 50 years ago, is more complicated than most. Patty runs Gatorama with her husband, Alan.
Patty and I, we met when we were 14 years old in junior high school. It was kind of funny because I told my best friend, I said, that's the girl that I'm going to marry.
Their son, Ben, is Gatorama's official crocodilian wrangler.
All right, how's everybody doing today? So where's everybody from? Tennessee, I'll count slow for you.
Ben can't resist bringing a reporter from New York into the show.
Come on up here, crocodile. Come on.
He's got that evil eye thing going. Come on, come on, come on, up, 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 up.
There you go.
Yeah! Woo-hoo! Tourism is about half of Gatorama's business.
I could see a vest out of this. I think you need to get me one.
The other half is farming gators for skins and meat.
The value of the skin would probably be around $600, maybe $650.
This pile alone could be worth more than $5,000. So, how do you hatch an enterprise like this? Therein lies the tale of a strange inheritance, one that involves native Floridians, both four- and two-legged, starting with Patty's dad, Dave Thielen.
My dad was a person who was perfectly at home in the swamp. Mom was more of a city girl.
Way back in the prehistoric era, circa 1970, Dave returned to Central Florida after retiring from the Army. He'd served 20 years, including a tour as an infantry commander in Vietnam. He and Marietta, his wife of 18 years, buy a nice house in Haines City. Dave tries a few different businesses, selling worms, crop spraying. Nothing really clicks until he runs into an old swamp rat he'd known as a kid, Cecil Clemens.
He was one of the best trappers I've ever run into. He had 15 wives, and I knew 3 of them.
Cecil had bulldozed a patch of swampland, erected a cheesy tourist attraction, and named it Gatorama.
If the truth were known, Gatorama was just a front.
A front?
For the gator business.
A front because in 1967, alligators are listed as an endangered species. Trapping or killing them becomes a federal crime.
The hunters around here were happy to bring him little alligators for $3 and $4 a piece. And he was turning those right around and selling them on the black market for like $200, $300 a piece.
By the mid-'80s, Cecil is getting on in years. He wants his old pal Dave to take Gatorama off his hands. Dave is intrigued, especially when he finds out that alligators are about to come off the endangered species list. Gator farming will be a legal business. He offers Cecil $300,000 for the whole operation. Old Cecil snaps at the deal.
Your wife must have been thrilled when you told her you were going to move here.
Oh, she fought me tooth and toenail.
And maybe she was right.
When I came here, I thought this was a farm. It was no farm at all. The incubator was a little old box right back there.
In the house?
In the house. There was roaches, rats, and even snakes running around in this building.
Marietta wants nothing to do with it. She'd rather live someplace with sidewalks.
She wouldn't come down there. First of all, she was afraid, and second of all, it was sort of beneath her dignity.
It took about 6 months for her to make the adjustment and move down here.
And what did he tell her?
Come on, Marietta, we're going.
The couple hope their 3 kids will get involved.
My mom and dad always had the feeling that if you weren't here on the farm, you weren't working.
My idea all along was that I could build something that I could pass down to my family.
That was always in the back of your mind.
Always in the back of my mind.
Oh, it's in the back of his mind, all right, way back there. When it finally gets to the front of Dave's mind, this strange inheritance muddies the water.
I think in that process, it opened up a lot of resentments.
That's next. And later...
What are you saying? Where's my mama?
Saying mama.
Where's my mama?
But first, our strange inheritance quiz question. How many teeth does the typical alligator go through in a lifetime? 20 to 30, 2 to 300, or 2 to 3,000? The answer in a moment. So how many teeth does the typical alligator lose in a lifetime? It's C, 2 to 3,000. As teeth wear down, alligators grow new ones.
In 1986, retired Army Major Dave Phelan buys Gatorama, a Central Florida tourist attraction and alligator farm. For Dave, it's an exciting time to be in the gator game. They're about to come off the endangered species list and demand is high.
It was apparent after just a little bit of time that there was some money to be made here.
After her initial reluctance, Dave's wife Marietta jumps in and brings with her a good head for business. She keeps the books and runs the tourist operation.
Oh, I couldn't have done it without her. Couldn't have done it without her.
Together, they transform Gatorama from a rundown eyesore into, well, an attractive attraction. By 1990, Gatorama is making a profit, but it's a grueling life for a couple approaching their 60s, living far from friends and family.
Did she ever describe to you what she felt like living here, doing this?
Being here on the register 7 days a week, and she would hardly ever leave.
Did she feel trapped?
No one trapped her. She allowed herself to be trapped here.
Dave needs some help, so he approaches his daughter Patty and her husband Alan. Patty's the only one of his kids interested in running the business.
The idea was that we were going to come work for a year. They would pick up and move back to Haines City, and we would operate the business.
The couple are ready for a change. Patty's running a daycare business in Haines City, and Alan's a sonar operator on a nuclear sub.
The last 2 years I was in the Navy, I only saw my family for 60 days. When I left Haines City, the look on Ben's face just tore me apart. So Patty and I made the decision that I would go ahead and get out of the Navy. We would come down and go to work for her mom and dad.
Did it end up being what you thought it would be?
No, it was totally different, out of our comfort zone.
We were trying to get our feet wet and figure out exactly where our part was going to be within the family structure, the business structure.
And as Alan discovers, wrangling these 600-pound, 10-foot carnivores is not without its hazards.
What happened to your finger?
Crocodile bit it off.
A crocodile bit it off?
Is that just a day at the office?
That day it was.
Working with Patty's dad, Alan learns the ins and outs of the gator business and to keep his fingers away from their mouths.
We spend all of our time trying to make sure our alligators are happy, they're fed well, they have healthy skins.
And remember Dave's first incubator, a wooden crate in the living room? By 1994, son-in-law Alan has helped build a new one. It can handle up to 3,000 eggs at a time.
So, Jamie, you are in luck. We have some baby alligators that are hatching out.
They've got to be cute.
They are.
Okay.
I'm going to put these on.
I feel like a surgeon.
Just the slightest movement will cause them to move.
Oh, here comes one.
Yeah.
He's born.
It's his birthday.
Hey, you. Can we name this one Jamie?
Absolutely.
What are you saying? Where's my mama?
Saying mama.
Where's my mama?
By the mid-90s, Patty and Alan are putting in long hours, 7 days a week, to make Gatorama a success. They assume that Patty's parents will eventually retire, leaving them to take over. But there are no concrete plans. Then in August 1996, after a year of battling cancer, Patty's mom, Marietta, dies at the age of 64.
She even worked the last day that she was alive.
When they buried her, they buried half of me right in the same grave with her.
In his grief, Dave walks away from Gatorama, leaving day-to-day management to Alan and Patty. And here's where the inheritance part of this strange inheritance gets really complicated. Marietta's 50% of Gatorama passes to a trust, which Dave controls. Upon his death, their 3 children will each inherit an equal share. The arrangement leaves Patty and Alan in limbo. They're running the business, but have no say in what happens to it.
I'm trying to figure out a gentle way to say that it might be sold out from underneath us.
Alan and I knew that we had to do something to ensure that we would be able to carry on.
Dad gets that, but he wonders if the fairest thing might be to sell Gatorama to the highest bidder and set money aside for all 3 siblings equally, not make an inside deal with Patty.
My father was so concerned about being fair to my brother and my sister, even though they had not contributed to the farm very much.
Was that a tough one for you?
I really pondered over it and struggled with it.
Dave decides he'll come up with what he thinks is a fair price for his empire. No special deal, and make an offer to Patty and Alan.
What did Dad tell you he wanted to buy it?
He wanted $1 million.
Where'd he come up with $1 million?
It was just something he pulled.
That's next.
Here's another quiz question for you. How fast can alligators run on land? About the speed of an Olympic sprinter, a riding lawnmower, or a kid on a tricycle? The answer in a moment. So how fast can an alligator run? The answer is A. A gator could keep up with a sprinter, but only for short distances.
I see you have friends.
Yep, we have the alligators are over here to your right. And on the left over here is the only breeding colony of American crocodiles in the entire country.
Good business?
Everybody that wants a crocodile, they come to us, whether it's Disney or Busch Gardens.
After Patty Register's mother dies in 1996, she and her husband Alan take the leading role in running Gatorama, a Central Florida tourist attraction and alligator farm owned by Patty's family.
Alan and I had already spent 10 years here, and we were getting to the age that it would be very difficult to start another career.
But at the time, Patty shares only a half interest in Gatorama with her brother and sister, the strange inheritance from their mother. Their father, Dave Thielen, owns the other half and still controls the business.
Alan and I knew that we had to do something to ensure that we would be able to carry on this business and farm.
Patty and Alan feel the best solution is for them to buy the business from Patty's father and siblings, Lock, Stock, and Gators. But at what price? Whatever they do will affect the finances and feelings of the entire family.
As I talk to families and the inheritances, I realize some things go really, really well, and sometimes not so well. What was the case with this inheritance?
I think in that process, it opened up a lot of resentments.
It's the kind of conflict that happens often in family-owned businesses. Could Patty's siblings get more money for their inheritance if Gatorama were simply sold to an outside buyer? And where would that leave Patty and Alan, who have been running the place?
Patty and I were concerned that upon her father's passing, that it was going to be sold out from underneath us. We felt like we needed to protect ourselves. And so, we negotiated with her father for years. And
we didn't want to pay any more than it was worth.
What did Dad tell you he wanted to buy it?
He wanted $1 million.
Where'd he come up with $1 million?
It was just something he
Just out of
pulled.
the sky.
Right.
It's a tug of war. Patty and Alan's years of sweat equity at Gatorama are at risk.
We had a lot of difficulty coming to an agreement. And finally, his attorney suggested that we hire an appraiser to come out and appraise the business.
So will an impartial opinion soothe hurt feelings and make everyone believe they're getting a fair shake?
What do you hope happens to this place?
Well, I hope that it can continue on in the family.
Things became more difficult in our family relationships.
Of course, sometimes you just don't know how to let go.
It's a Gator doesn't know I went to University of Miami. It's looking at me.
Yeah, I think he likes you.
That's next.
Now, back to Strange Inheritance.
In Central Florida, Patty and Alan Register continue to work long hours at Gatorama while they wait for a professional appraisal of Patty's family's strange inheritance. They hope the dollar figure will be low enough that they can afford to buy out the rest of the family, and high enough so there's no blood in the water. The answer comes in: $600,000. It's a number they can work with. Patty's father, Dave Phelan, makes the deal.
It was relief because we felt that now we had a future and that we didn't have to worry that upon my father's passing, we might have to hit the road.
We do have a loan at the bank, and then we also have a mortgage with David. He's carrying the note.
But according to Patty, not everyone is happy.
My sister thought that she wouldn't get a fair portion of the proceeds from my mom and dad's estate. But the bottom line is that we paid the appraised value for part of it, and we inherited part of it.
Patty and Alan own Gatorama and every beast on the lot. I doubt old Cecil Clemens, who started it back in the 50s, would recognize the place today. Alan's renovated the incubator and installed solar heating. Patty has added a hatching festival and keeps Ben busy doing 2 gator shows a day. In a good year, they sell more than 10,000 pounds of prime gator meat. And strangely enough, alligator farming has been good for the gators still in the wild.
The alligators have done extremely well. The populations have been steady or have increased. It's all part of the management program, sustainable use. Like any other farmer, we're not going to destroy the environment because that's our livelihood.
With any luck, their son Ben will be the next generation to see Gatorama as his strange and slightly scary inheritance. It's already paying him dividends. He found his wife here.
I just got married 4 months ago. My wife actually walked through the doors of the gift shop.
That's how you met.
That's how we met.
Ben's wife, Christina, now works with him.
She loves it out here. She wouldn't want to do anything else.
And before I leave, Ben and Christina have one last treat in store for me.
So me and my wife are going to show you how to sit on an alligator.
You like this?
I've been wanting to do this since I was 2 years old.
Okay, we're going to cover his eyes. And you're just going to come right where that leaf is with this leg. Step over. Go ahead and put your knees in the dirt. And then you're going to put your hands right here on the day, brother. Oh.
Ben,
Okay, this is not in my contract.
It's looking at me.
Yeah, I think he likes you.
Yeah, right. You might say this is the type of guy who, once you get your hands on him, you don't want to let go.
You know, we're getting along.
Never look at it.
Otherwise, you might end up like Alan, literally giving him the finger. So after all their hard work and stress, Patty and Alan have found their place in the sun, even if it is inhabited by thousands of man-eating reptiles.
Alan told me that when Ben was just 16, he was working with a 6-footer when it clamped down on his arm. Ben stayed calm, he did the right thing. He got that gator down on the ground and he kept it there until others could pry the critter's jaws open. He had 2 rows of teeth marks on his arm, but luckily, he still had his arm. Alan says that's the moment he knew his boy was cut out for this kind of work. I'm Jamie Colby for Strange Inheritance. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, you can't take it with you.
Do you have a strange inheritance story you'd like to share with us? We'd love to hear it. Send me an email or go to our website, strangeinheritance.com.